there is a court case, claim number DOM HCV 2011/0388. Are you familiar with this claim number, and can you tell us more about this case?
For many years, even whilst I was at the International Monetary Fund, I had a platform called the Dominican.net, where it was really a news platform, and I did a lot of investigative work on the sale of Dominica's passports, and basically revealed to the Dominican public what was going on with the passports, the government's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt's efforts, for example, to sell passports to crooks and to criminals. I made several stories concerning that particular issue, and brought to light a lot of what I thought was wrong on the part of the government in terms of giving crooks. We had several examples. For example, a famous guy by the name of Francisco Corralo, who was made Dominica's ambassador to the FAO in Geneva, and he was wanted at the time. We had a number of individuals who were basically criminals, downright criminals, who were given Dominican passports.
Gelijk door, gelijk aanhouden.
Politie! Open de door.
Iran arrests corruption fugitive, Alireza Monfared, after international manhunt. Monfared is accused of involvement in Iran's biggest ever corruption scandal, working alongside tycoon Babak Zanjani, who was sentenced to death. An Iranian man accused of helping to embezzle billions of dollars while the country evaded international oil sanctions has been arrested after a lengthy international manhunt, media reported Monday. Alireza Ziba Halat Monfared, 43, is accused of involvement in Iran's biggest ever corruption scandal, working alongside tycoon Babak Zanjani, who was sentenced to death last year for pocketing $2.8 billion while helping the country bypass sanctions. The head of Iran's International Police Department, Masoud Revani, told Mizan Online that Monfared had been extradited via Havana and Moscow before arriving in Tehran on Sunday. Unconfirmed reports said he had finally been arrested in Dominica, according to the state-run Iran daily newspaper.
Dominican Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt could find himself in hot water following allegations that he's the subject of a United States investigation. It's alleged that Mr. Skerritt is aware of a passport for sale scheme being operated within the country. Scene's Karika McIntyre has that story.
The claims were first published on this blog by one Kenneth Riddock, who describes himself as a financial crime consultant. The allegations that Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt has issued Dominican diplomatic passports to supposed international criminals in exchange for investments in the Caribbean nation. One such person is Iranian businessman Alireza Monfared. Monfared was extradited to Iran in January 2017. He is accused of helping to embezzle millions of dollars while Iran evaded international oil sanctions. Here is what appears to be a copy of his Dominican diplomatic passport. But Dominican authorities maintained that this passport was revoked in January 2016. However, details surrounding the reason for the revocation has not been made. According to the website Travel Freedom, a Dominican diplomatic passport grants the holder of such passport access to 132 countries without prior visa, and that passport is ranked 40th in the world. Skerritt has already refuted claims as recently as December 2016 that Dominican diplomatic passports are for sale, amidst assertions by the country's opposition leader Lennox Linton. Linton appeared on American television program 60 Minutes, where he alleged that the Dominican leader was selling passports to known criminals. For CN Caribbean News, I am Karika McIntyre.
So I wrote extensively about this. And the Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, in an effort to get me to keep quiet, filed a lawsuit against me. That was in, I believe, in late 2010, filed a lawsuit against me. We defended, obviously, I defended myself very, very vigorously against this. It came up for hearing one time. It came up for hearing. The government at the time, the first time it came up for hearing, in fact, a lot of my defense, what I provided as evidence, that I had not libeled the Prime Minister, that in fact all of those cases were true, they were public records and so on. For some reason, when it came before the court, I believe you call it court, I can't remember the term that they use, the court master, yeah. A lot of that was removed from, which basically which would have weakened my case. We appealed, my lawyers appealed that decision, and then the court, the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, which is probably the case that you're referencing.
Yes.
The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court actually ordered the court in Dominica to reinstate my defense and give me additional time to even add more than what I had done initially to respond. Since that time, miraculously, the case has not been heard. It's over 10 years now, nothing. It has not reappeared on any docket in Dominica, and it has mysteriously gone quiet. But I'm still awaiting my day in court on this one.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I thought that was pretty interesting while I'm digging up information, Now, let's talk a little bit about your book. Give me the name. What is it about? How important do you feel this book is, or what should it mean for Dominicans? What should it mean for us as a people? Tell us more.
The name of the book is The Maroons of Dominica, Rebellion, Resistance, and Freedom from Slavery, 1764 to 1818. So what this book is about, the Maroons that lived in the hills of Dominica. They are really, some of them actually our forebears who decided, or who chose rather, not to live under the system of slavery, but use the cover of Dominica's topography, the mountains and valleys of Dominica, to build their lives, to build communities, and to live free from slavery. So that is their story. That is their story. The idea of the book came about when a few years ago I was listening to a lecture from a very famous Dominican personality, Edward Scobie, who has written the definitive report on Blacks in Europe. He was talking about the Maroons, and in particular, a Maroon by the name of Bala, who happened to have had his hideout from the same village that I came from. So that kind of got my attention, and because I had not heard about these experts. I knew the name because growing up you hear about names of the Maroons, but I did not know that this particular Maroon actually lived in the same village that I live. So that piqued my interest. And I thought, well, what about finding out more about this particular Maroon? So I decided to start doing research, and I went online, and I was shocked because the first time I went online into the archives, looking at old newspapers from that period of 1785, 1786, and thereabouts, I found over 250 references to Bala. So I said, wow, this story must be told, because in Dominica, we don't even know the story. So it led to more research, and I spent a lot of time at the National Archives in the UK, looking at the records of the governors in Dominica, what they wrote about the Maroons. And we got really detailed accounts of their life, of the efforts that was made by the government at the time, by various governors to capture them. And I put all of that into a fascinating book that details, that gives their story. And to me, importantly, what it tells again, what the research showed is that the Maroons of Dominica, more than any other group anywhere else in the West Indies, had a determined impact on the arguments for the abolition of the slave trade in 1807 and later for the abolition of slavery. So the role that they played in that, their own fight against colonialism and the reasons why they stood up, all of that played a very significant role. And the fact that their actions caught the attention of William Wilberforce, who was the major abolitionist at the time. Yeah. It also caught the attention of William Sharp and others. And they're reaching out to Dominica to get the information about the Maroons.
Yeah.
All of that is in the book. And it's a fascinating story, a fascinating tale that I think the world needed to hear.
Yeah.